A strange transmission. Alex Carter, a 28-year-old scientist, sat in his dimly lit lab surrounded by a maze of glowing screens and blinking machines. It was well past midnight, but he didn't care. For Alex, this was the best time to work. Quiet, peaceful, and free from distractions. His focus tonight was on a strange signal he had picked up a week ago. It wasn't the usual cosmic noise or random radio waves bouncing around in space. This was different. The signal was faint but persistent, repeating every 24 hours like clockwork. What intrigued Alex most was that it wasn't just random noise. It had structure. It sounded like a message, and he was determined to decode it. Unique, irresistible. The words suddenly appeared on his screen as the signal repeated itself once more. Alex frowned. This was the third time those words had come through, but he couldn't figure out what they meant or who was sending them. Was it some kind of joke, or something more serious? "Come on, Carter, think," he muttered to himself, tapping furiously at his keyboard. His fingers danced across the keys as he ran the signal through his decryption software. The results were inconclusive, but there was something about the pattern. It felt alive, as if it had intent. Suddenly, a sharp buzz filled the room, startling Alex. He looked up just in time to see a strange glow forming in the center of the lab. His heart raced. The glow grew brighter, swirling into a vortex of light and energy. The air felt charged, and the hairs on the back of his neck stood up. What the? Alex barely had time to react before the vortex stabilized, forming what looked like a shimmering portal. He took a cautious step back, grabbing a nearby wrench as a makeshift weapon. The portal pulsed, and then, to his utter disbelief, a figure stepped through. She was unlike anything Alex had ever seen. The woman was tall and radiant, her skin shimmering with a soft, iridescent glow. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her eyes sparkled with a brilliance that seemed to pierce through him. She wore a sleek, futuristic suit that hugged her form, and she moved with an elegance that was almost otherworldly. For a moment, Alex could only stare, his mind struggling to process what was happening. Then the woman spoke, her voice soft but commanding. "Are you the human?" she asked, her accent strange yet oddly beautiful. Alex blinked, the wrench slipping from his hand and clattering to the floor. Yes. Who are you? What are you doing in my lab?" The woman stepped closer, her gaze filled with awe and curiosity. "My name is Irina. I've come a very long way to find you." "Find me? Why? How did you even?" Alex stopped mid-sentence as a realization hit him. "Wait, is this about the signal? Did you send it?" Irina nodded. "Yes. The message was meant for someone like you. A human. We've been searching for your kind across the stars." "Searching for us? Why?" Alex's mind raced with questions. This didn't feel real. It couldn't be real. Irina hesitated, as if choosing her words carefully. "Because your species is special. Unique. Irresistible." There it was again. Those same words from the signal. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. What does that even mean? Before Irina could answer, a loud alarm blared from one of Alex's machines. He turned to see multiple red dots flashing on the screen, a warning system he had set up to detect unusual energy signatures. More portals were opening, and fast. "What's happening now?" Alex demanded, panic creeping into his voice. Irina's expression darkened. "They're coming." "Who's coming?" Alex shouted, but Irina didn't answer. Instead, she reached for a device on her wrist and activated it. A shimmering energy field surrounded them just as the lab walls began to shake. Through the glowing portal, Alex saw shadowy figures emerging. Tall, menacing beings with sharp, angular forms and glowing red eyes. They didn't look friendly. "We need to leave. Now," Irina said, grabbing Alex's arm. Her touch was surprisingly warm, almost comforting, despite the chaos around them. "Leave? Leave to where?" Alex protested, But Irina was already pulling him toward the portal. "Anywhere but here," she replied. "If they catch you, it's over." Alex hesitated for a split second, glancing back at his lab, the place he had spent years building his dreams. But as the shadowy figures grew closer, he realized he didn't have a choice. With one last look, Alex stepped into the portal, the wrench still lying forgotten on the floor. The last thing he heard before the world dissolved into light was Irina's voice, calm but urgent. "You have no idea how important you are, Alex Carter." And then, they were gone. A galactic phenomenon. Alex stumbled as he emerged from the swirling portal, landing on a smooth metallic floor. His head spun as he tried to process what had just happened. The air smelled crisp, with a faint trace of something sweet and floral. When he looked up, his breath caught. He was standing in what appeared to be a vast, futuristic city, suspended in the middle of space. Towering spires made of shimmering crystal reached into an endless black sky filled with stars. Strange vehicles zipped through the air, and humanoid beings of all shapes and sizes walked along glowing pathways. Everything was bathed in soft, otherworldly light. "Where are we?" Alex asked, his voice shaky. "This is Vylora, my homeworld," Irina replied, stepping beside him. She glanced around, her expression tinged with worry. "We'll be safe here, for now." Alex staggered to his feet, his mind reeling. Safe? From who? What were those things back there? Irina hesitated. Those were hunters. They serve factions who see humans as nothing more than a resource, a way to harness your species' unique energy. "My species, what now?" Alex interrupted, his confusion mounting. "What are you talking about? I'm just a regular guy. I work in a lab, eat microwave dinners, and binge-watch old TV shows. There's nothing unique about me." Irina turned to him, her glowing eyes serious. "You may think that, Alex Carter, but to the galaxy, humans are extraordinary. Your kind emits a rare energy frequency, a resonance, that no other species possesses. It's not just alluring, it's powerful. Some say it has the potential to shape the fate of the entire galaxy." Alex stared at her, struggling to believe what he was hearing. "So, you're telling me aliens are obsessed with humans because of some cosmic frequency we give off? That's insane." "It's not just about attraction," Irina clarified. "Your energy can heal, strengthen, even protect against the void storms that are ravaging entire star systems. To some, humans are a treasure. To others, you're a weapon." Alex felt a sinking sensation in his stomach. "And you? Why did you come looking for me?" Irina's gaze softened. "I came because I believe humans are more than what these factions see. I believe your kind can save us all, but only if you're given a choice. Not captured, not exploited." Before Alex could respond, a loud hum filled the air. Irina stiffened, her hand flying to the device on her wrist. A holographic screen appeared, showing a fleet of dark ships approaching the planet. Their sleek, menacing designs made it clear they weren't here for diplomacy. "The hunters found us," Irina said, her voice tight. "What? How?" Alex exclaimed, panic rising in his chest. "They must have tracked the portal," Irina replied. "We don't have much time." She pressed a button on her wrist, and a glowing blue bubble formed around them. The next moment, they were lifted off the ground, hurtling through the air at dizzying speed. Alex clutched at the bubble's surface, his heart racing. "Is this safe?" he yelled over the rushing wind. "Safe enough," Irina answered grimly. "We're heading to the Council. They need to know what's happening." "The Council?" Alex echoed. "Who's that?" "They're the leaders of the Galactic Union," Irina explained. "If anyone can help protect you and your planet, it's them." The bubble slowed as they approached a massive structure floating high above the city. It was shaped like a colossal sphere, its surface covered in glowing patterns that shifted and pulsed like a living organism. The bubble dissolved, gently depositing them on a platform outside the structure. Irina led Alex through towering doors into a grand chamber filled with beings from dozens of different species. Some were humanoid, like Irina, while others were wildly alien, tentacled, insectoid, or shimmering with liquid-like forms. All eyes turned to Alex as they entered. "Is this normal?" Alex whispered nervously. "They'd never seen a human in person before," Irina replied. "You're rare." "Great. I love being stared at by space aliens," Alex muttered under his breath. A towering figure with golden skin and an air of authority stepped forward. "Irina, you've brought the human," he said, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. "Yes, Chancellor Vorith," Irina replied with a bow. "But the hunters are close behind." Vorith's golden eyes flicked to Alex. "Human, do you know why you've been brought here?" "Not really," Alex admitted. "Something about humans being special and energy. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out." Vorith nodded gravely. "Your kind is more than special. You may be the key to saving our galaxy from destruction." Alex threw up his hands. "Why does everyone keep saying that? I'm just a guy. I'm not some hero or a savior." "That remains to be seen," Vorith said. "But whether you like it or not, your presence has already altered the course of events. The void storms are spreading, and the factions hunting you will stop at nothing to gain control of your power. The question is, will you help us, or will you let the galaxy fall into chaos?" Alex felt the weight of 1,000 eyes on him. He didn't have an answer. How could he? A week ago, he'd been just another scientist with a quiet life. Now he was standing in a room full of aliens, being told he might be the most important person in the galaxy. I need time to think," he said finally. "Time is a luxury we may not have," Irina said, her voice gentle but firm. "But I'll stand by you, whatever you decide." As the council debated their next steps, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that his life, and the fate of the galaxy, was spiraling into something far bigger than he could ever imagine. A race against time. The sleek transport ship hummed as it soared through the atmosphere of Valora, weaving between towering spires and glowing pathways. Alex sat in the passenger seat, gripping the edges of his chair tightly. His heart pounded in his chest, a mixture of fear and disbelief coursing through him. Irina piloted the craft with calm precision, her glowing eyes fixed on the view ahead. "I still don't get it," Alex said, his voice breaking the tense silence. "Why me? Why now? This resonance thing you keep talking about, what does it even do?" Irina glanced at him briefly, her expression unreadable. "Your resonance is a force we don't fully understand. It's not just energy. It's harmony, a kind of connection that defies logic. It can heal, unify, and strengthen. But in the wrong hands, it can be weaponized to devastating effect." Alex slumped back in his seat, running a hand through his messy brown hair. "Great, so I'm not just a guy anymore. I'm a cosmic battery." "Fantastic." Irina allowed herself a small smile. "You're much more than that, Alex. But for now, we need to focus on staying alive." Suddenly, a sharp beeping noise erupted from the console. Irina's smile vanished as she checked the readings. "They found us." "What?" Alex shot upright, his grip on the chair tightening. "Who found us?" Irina's fingers danced across the controls, and the ship lurched sharply to the left. "The hunters. They've sent interceptors." "Hold on." Alex barely had time to brace himself as the transport dove into a series of sharp maneuvers. Through the window, he caught sight of their pursuers. Sleek, black ships with angular designs and glowing red lights. They moved like predators, closing in with terrifying speed. "They don't look friendly." Alex shouted over the noise of alarms blaring in the cockpit. "They're not," Irina replied tersely. "They're here to capture you, or worse." As if to emphasize her point, the lead hunter ship fired a volley of plasma bolts. The shot streaked through the air, narrowly missing their craft. Irina swerved to avoid the attack, her hand steady on the controls. "I'm really not liking this or worse option," Alex muttered, his knuckles white as he gripped the chair. Irina activated a defensive shield, and a translucent barrier enveloped their ship. "We'll outrun them," she said, though there was a hint of doubt in her voice. The hunters, however, seemed prepared. 2 ships broke off from the main group, flanking them on either side. Alex watched as the ships unleashed another barrage, the plasma bolt striking the shield with a loud crackle. Irina. The shield's not looking too good," Alex pointed out, his voice rising in panic. Irina didn't respond. Instead, she activated a holographic display, pulling up a map of the surrounding area. Her eyes narrowed as she studied it, then she made a sharp turn, sending the ship into a narrow canyon. "Why are we going into a canyon?" Alex yelled, gripping the armrests tightly. "To lose them," Irina said, her tone clipped. "They can't maneuver as well in tight spaces." The canyon walls loomed on either side, the ship weaving through the jagged rock formations with alarming speed. Alex's stomach churned as they narrowly avoided a protruding outcrop. Behind them, the hunter ships followed, their plasma cannons lighting up the dark canyon. "They're not giving up," Alex shouted, glancing back at the pursuing ships. Irina gritted her teeth. "They never do." She pushed the ship to its limits, the engines whining under the strain. Just as it seemed they might escape, one of the hunter ships accelerated, pulling alongside them. A mechanical arm extended from the ship, crackling with energy. "They're trying to disable us," Irina shouted. "Alex, hold on." Before Alex could respond, the hunter ship fired an electromagnetic pulse. The pulse struck their transport, and the lights flickered before the entire ship powered down. The cockpit was plunged into darkness, and the ship began to plummet. "Not good, not good, not good," Alex shouted as they fell. Irina frantically worked the controls, her hands moving faster than Alex thought possible. After a moment of tense silence, the engines roared back to life, and the ship stabilized just before hitting the canyon floor. "Okay, that was terrifying," Alex said, his voice trembling. Irina didn't respond. Her focus was on the hunter ships, which were regrouping for another attack. "We can't keep this up," she muttered. Then, as if making a decision, she turned to Alex. "There's a contingency plan." "Contingency plan?" Alex repeated, not liking the sound of it. Irina nodded. "There's an old outpost nearby. It's hidden, but it has a jump gate, a small one. It's our best shot." "Wait, another portal. Where does it lead?" Alex asked. "Anywhere but here," Irina replied. "It's unstable, but it'll give us a head start." "Unstable?" Alex's voice cracked. "That doesn't sound comforting." "It's that or we get captured," Irina said firmly. "Make your choice." Alex hesitated for a split second, then nodded. "Fine. Let's do it." Irina veered the ship toward a jagged opening in the canyon wall. The hunter ships were closing in, but she pushed the engines to their maximum, the ship rattling as it surged forward. The outpost came into view, a small rusted facility hidden among the rocks. "Get ready," Irina said, her fingers flying across the controls. The ship skidded to a stop on the outpost's landing pad, and Irina and Alex sprinted toward the jump gate. Behind them, the hunters descended, their ships landing with a hiss of pressurized air. Irina activated the gate, the portal sputtering to life. "Go," she shouted. Alex hesitated, looking back at the advancing hunters. "What about you?" "I'll follow. Just go," Irina insisted. With no time to argue, Alex stepped into the portal, the world dissolving into a swirl of light. The last thing he saw was Irina raising her weapon, ready to face the hunters alone. The Galactic Council's plan. The swirling energy of the unstable portal spat Alex out onto a smooth metallic floor. He stumbled, catching himself on a nearby railing as his head spun from the disorienting journey. As he straightened, he realized he was standing in a massive, domed chamber. The walls glowed faintly with intricate patterns that shifted and pulsed like a heartbeat. Around him were dozens of beings, tall, short, humanoid, insectoid, and others entirely indescribable. The room buzzed with murmurs in countless alien languages, but as Alex stumbled forward, the voices fell silent. All eyes turned toward him, and the weight of their collective gaze made his stomach churn. "Human," a deep, resonant voice called out. Alex turned to see a towering figure step forward. The being had golden skin that shimmered like molten metal, and his robes flowed as if caught in an invisible breeze. His eyes glowed with an intense light, and his presence radiated authority. "I am Chancellor Vorith, leader of the Galactic Council," the figure said. "You are the first human to stand in this chamber. Do you know why you've been brought here?" Alex took a shaky breath, his voice barely steady. "Irina told me. Something about humans being special. About our resonance." Vorith nodded solemnly. "Your kind emits an energy that is unique in the galaxy, a resonance that harmonizes with the very fabric of the universe. It is a force of creation, healing, and balance. In the right hands, it can be used to unite worlds. In the wrong hands, it can bring unimaginable destruction." Alex glanced around the room, feeling the eyes of the council members boring into him. "I still don't get it. Why me? Why now? I didn't sign up for this galactic responsibility thing." Another figure stepped forward, smaller than Vorith, but no less imposing. She had translucent, crystalline skin that refracted light into rainbows. Her voice was calm but firm. "The void storms have grown stronger. Entire star systems have been consumed by their chaos. Our scientists believe your resonance can stabilize the energy disruptions causing these storms." Alex threw up his hands. "You're saying I can stop space storms? How? I'm just a guy. I don't have powers, or weapons, or—" "Your presence alone is enough," Vorith interrupted. "When humans are near, the resonance they emit interacts with the void, calming its fury. But the hunters, those who seek to exploit you, have other plans. They wish to amplify your energy artificially, turning it into a weapon to control the galaxy." The crystalline figure added, "If they succeed, it would mean the end of freedom for all sentient beings. Every world, every species, would bow to their rule or be destroyed." Alex's mind reeled. He hadn't asked for any of this. He was a scientist, not a savior. He opened his mouth to respond, but before he could speak, the chamber doors burst open. Irina stumbled in, her armor scorched and her breathing labored. "The hunters, they've breached the council's defenses," she gasped, collapsing to one knee. Vorith turned sharply. "How far are they?" "They'll be here in minutes," Irina said, struggling to stand. "They've come for Alex. They won't stop until they have him." The room erupted into chaos. Council members shouted in panic, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of fear and urgency. Alex felt his chest tighten as the reality of the situation sank in. "We must evacuate," one alien declared. "No," Vorith said, his voice cutting through the noise like a blade. "If we scatter, they will pick us off one by one. We must stand together." Irina looked at Alex, her expression resolute despite her injuries. "Alex, this is your choice. You can leave now, find a place to hide, and hope they never find you. Or you can stay and fight. For yourself, for your planet, and for the galaxy." Alex felt the weight of her words. He thought about his quiet life back on Earth, his lab, his routine. He thought about how easy it would be to walk away, to pretend none of this was his problem. But then he looked around the chamber, at the fear in the council members' eyes, at Irina's unwavering determination, and he realized something. If he walked away now, he wouldn't just be abandoning them. He'd be abandoning the part of himself that wanted to make a difference, that wanted to stand for something bigger than his own comfort. Taking a deep breath, he met Irina's gaze. "What do I need to do?" A flicker of relief crossed her face. "Follow me." Irina led him to a console at the center of the chamber. The crystalline council member placed her hands on the controls, activating a holographic map of the galaxy. "This is the source of the void storms," she explained, pointing to a dark, swirling mass on the map. "It's spreading faster than we anticipated. If it reaches your solar system, Earth will be consumed." Alex stared at the map, his resolve hardening. "How do we stop it?" "You," Vorith said simply. "Your resonance can stabilize the energy disruptions, but we need to amplify it safely." Irina handed Alex a device, a small metallic band that hummed with a faint glow. "This will focus your energy, but it's dangerous. The process could overwhelm you." Alex hesitated, feeling the weight of the device in his hands. "What happens if I don't make it?" Irina's expression softened. "Then we'll find another way. But right now, you're our best chance." Before Alex could respond, the chamber doors trembled under a powerful blast. The hunters had arrived. Vorith turned to the council. "Defend the chamber at all costs. Give Alex the time he needs." As the council members prepared for battle, Alex slipped the device onto his wrist. It felt warm, almost alive, as it pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. He looked at Irina, his fear replaced by determination. "Let's do this," he said. Irina nodded. "You're braver than you think." Alex Carter. As the hunters broke through the doors, Alex stood at the center of the chamber, ready to face whatever came next. Caught in a web of lies. The chamber erupted into chaos as the hunters stormed through the shattered doors. Their angular armor gleamed under the chamber's glowing lights, and their weapons hummed with deadly energy. The council members scattered, some raising shields or drawing strange, alien weapons, while others scrambled for cover. Alex stood frozen in the center of the room, the resonance-amplifying device on his wrist pulsing in sync with his racing heartbeat. He felt the weight of every decision that had led him here and the crushing pressure of the expectations placed on him. "Stay close to me," Irina said, pulling Alex behind a tall console. She raised a sleek weapon and fired a burst of energy at the advancing hunters, who retaliated with precision strikes that left scorch marks across the chamber's metallic walls. "This isn't going well," Alex shouted over the din of battle. "It's about to get worse," Irina muttered, her eyes narrowing as one of the hunters raised a strange device that emitted a high-pitched whine. The energy field protecting the chamber flickered and died, leaving them exposed. "Alex Carter," a deep, guttural voice boomed. A towering hunter stepped forward, his crimson eyes locking onto Alex. He exuded an air of command, and the other hunters ceased their assault, their weapons lowered but ready. The hunter leader's voice was like gravel grinding against steel. "You don't belong here. Come with us willingly, and we will spare these insignificant creatures." "Don't listen to him," Irina whispered fiercely. "He's lying." Alex hesitated, his mind racing. "Why me? Why do you even care about humans?" The hunter leader tilted his head, his expression unreadable. "You are a key to the galaxy's future. Your resonance is the purest we've detected, a force that could either unite or destroy. You're wasted on these fools." Vorith, the golden-skinned chancellor, stepped forward, his glowing eyes blazing. "You seek only to exploit him. The council stands against your tyranny." The hunter leader laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "Your council is weak. Your unity is a facade. Even now, factions within your ranks plot to use the human for their own gain." Alex's stomach dropped. "What is he talking about?" he asked, looking at Irina. The hunter leader gestured toward one of the council members, a reptilian being with scales that shimmered darkly. "Ask him. Ask Councillor Rithak about his private negotiations with the Syndicate." All eyes turned to Rithak, who took a step back, his scaled face twisting in anger. "This is a distraction, a ploy to divide us," he hissed. "Is it?" the hunter leader challenged. The Syndicate already has facilities ready to harvest human resonance. Rithak promised them your precious Alex in exchange for power. The chamber erupted into furious arguments, the council members shouting accusations and denials. Alex felt his chest tighten, the voices merging into a deafening roar. He turned to Irina, his voice low and shaky. Is this true? Are they using me? Irina hesitated, and the flicker of doubt in her expression was enough to make Alex's blood run cold. Not all of them, she said carefully, but some might see you as a resource rather than a person. So I'm just a pawn in some galactic power struggle, Alex said, his voice rising. No, Irina said firmly, grabbing his arm. Not to me. I believe in you, Alex. You're more than what they see. Before Alex could respond, the hunter leader spoke again, his tone almost mocking. See, human, you are surrounded by lies. Join us, and you will never be a pawn again. We will show you your true potential. Alex looked around the chamber. The council was in disarray, their unity shattered by the accusations. The hunters stood poised, ready to strike at any moment. He felt trapped, his mind torn between trust and betrayal, between survival and doing what was right. Then, amidst the chaos, a new voice rang out. It was soft, but it cut through the noise like a blade. Enough. The council members and hunters alike turned to see a figure step forward from the shadows. She was humanoid but radiated an aura of otherworldly power. Her eyes glowed with the light of 1,000 stars, and her presence silenced the room. Who is that? Alex whispered to Irina. Lady Seraphis, Irina replied in awe. An ancient being, a keeper of balance. No one expected her to intervene. Seraphis looked directly at Alex, her gaze piercing yet kind. You are at a crossroads, Alex Carter. Your choices will shape not only your destiny, but the fate of countless worlds. I don't know what to do, Alex admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't even know who to trust. Seraphis extended a hand, and Alex felt a wave of calm wash over him. Trust yourself. Your resonance is more than power. It is a reflection of who you are. You must decide what you stand for. The room fell silent, all eyes on Alex as he took a deep breath. Slowly, he stepped forward, standing between the council and the hunters. I don't know if I can save the galaxy, he said, his voice steady despite his fear. But I know I won't let anyone use me. Not the hunters, not the council, not anyone. The hunter leader snarled. Foolish boy, you've sealed your fate. Vorith raised his voice. The council will protect you, Alex Carter. You have our word. But Alex shook his head. No more lies. No more manipulation. If we're going to stop the void storms, we do it together, or not at all. His words hung in the air, and for a moment, the chamber was still. Then Seraphis nodded, her ethereal voice echoing. So be it. As the hunters and council prepared for another confrontation, Alex felt the device on his wrist pulse with a warm, steady rhythm. For the first time, he understood what Seraphis meant. His resonance wasn't just energy. It was a choice, a commitment to something greater than himself. The battle wasn't over, but Alex knew one thing. He would fight, not as a pawn, but as a force for unity in a galaxy on the brink of collapse. Earth's last stand. The portal deposited Alex and Irina onto a rocky hill overlooking a quiet rural town. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the landscape. Alex took a deep breath of Earth's familiar air, the scent of pine trees and distant rain calming his nerves for a fleeting moment. We're back, Alex muttered, looking at the small town below. It felt surreal to stand on Earth again after everything he'd experienced. But the tranquility of the scene was deceptive. Irina scanned the area, her wrist device glowing as it analyzed their surroundings. For now, the hunters won't take long to find us. Alex clenched his fists. Why here? Why bring me back? You said Earth needed to prepare, Irina replied, her tone urgent but firm. "You're right. This is where it begins. Your world must understand the stakes. The void storms are spreading, and the hunters will come in force." Alex stared at her, overwhelmed. "How am I supposed to convince people? I can't exactly walk into a government building and say, 'Hi, aliens are real, and I'm apparently the key to saving the galaxy.'" Irina gave him a small, almost apologetic smile. "You don't have to convince everyone, just enough to make a stand." Before Alex could respond, a low rumble echoed in the distance. He turned to see dark clouds forming on the horizon. Not ordinary storm clouds, but a swirling, unnatural vortex of black and violet energy. Lightning arced through the mass, striking the ground with terrifying force. "What is that?" Alex asked, his voice shaking. "A void storm," Irina said grimly. "It's here." The storm was massive, its energy warping the air around it. As it drew closer, Alex felt a strange pull, like the storm was reaching for him. His wrist device began to hum and glow, resonating with the storm's energy. "What's it doing?" Alex asked, holding up his arm. "It's reacting to the storm," Irina explained. "Your resonance can counteract its energy, but you'll need to amplify it." "How?" Alex demanded. "I don't even know how this thing works." Irina placed a hand on his shoulder. "You don't have to understand it. Trust your instincts. Focus on what matters, your home, your people." Alex nodded, his fear giving way to determination. He turned toward the town, where the first signs of panic were spreading. People pointed at the storm, some rushing for shelter while others stood frozen in fear. "We need to warn them," Alex said, sprinting down the hill. Irina followed, her weapon drawn as she scanned the skies for signs of the hunters. As they reached the edge of the town, Alex shouted to the nearest group of people, "Get inside. Find cover. It's not safe out here." "What's going on?" a man asked, his voice laced with panic. "What is that thing?" "It's a storm," Alex said quickly, avoiding the full truth. "But it's dangerous. Just trust me. Get somewhere safe." The man hesitated, then nodded, gathering his family and rushing toward a nearby building. Alex moved through the streets, repeating his warnings. Some listened, but others stared at him like he was crazy. "They're not going to believe you," Irina said, her voice tight with urgency. "Not until they see what's coming." As if on cue, a loud, mechanical screech echoed across the sky. Alex looked up to see the unmistakable forms of hunter ships emerging from the clouds. Their sleek, black shapes contrasted sharply against the swirling storm, and their weapons glowed ominously. "They're here," Alex said, his voice barely above a whisper. Irina grabbed his arm. "You need to get to high ground. Use the device to focus your energy. I'll hold them off. You can't fight them alone." Alex protested. "I don't have a choice," Irina shot back. "This is bigger than me, bigger than us. Go." Alex hesitated, then nodded, his heart pounding as he ran toward the hill where they'd arrived. Behind him, he heard the crack of Irina's weapon and the roar of hunter ships firing. He glanced back once, seeing her dart between cover as she took down 2 hunters with precision shots. When he reached the top of the hill, the storm was nearly upon him. The energy in the air was overwhelming, making it hard to breathe. The wrist device pulsed more intensely, the light spreading up his arm like veins of electricity. "Okay," Alex muttered to himself. "You've got this. You're a scientist. Think of it like an experiment." He closed his eyes and focused, trying to tune into the resonance Irina had described. At first, nothing happened. The storm roared closer, its energy crackling menacingly. But then Alex thought of Earth, the place he'd always taken for granted, the people he'd left behind, and the future he now fought to protect. The device flared to life, sending a surge of warmth through his body. Alex opened his eyes to see a dome of shimmering light forming around him. The storm's energy recoiled as it struck the dome, the violent crackles of lightning softening into harmless ripples. "It's working," Alex whispered, awe in his voice. But the effort was draining. Sweat poured down his face as he fought to maintain the shield. The storm pushed harder, its chaotic energy trying to break through. Alex gritted his teeth, his legs trembling under the strain. "Come on, Alex," he said through clenched teeth. "Don't give up now." Below, Irina continued to hold the line. The hunters pressed forward, their numbers overwhelming, but she fought with a fierce determination. Just as one of them raised a weapon toward her, a blast of light erupted from the hill, forcing everyone to stop. The storm's energy began to collapse, the swirling vortex shrinking as Alex's resonance overpowered it. The hunters faltered, their ships retreating as the void storm dissipated entirely. When the last of the storm's energy vanished, Alex collapsed to his knees, the glowing shield fading. Irina rushed to his side, her armor scorched but her expression filled with pride. "You did it," she said, helping him to his feet. Alex managed a weak smile. "Yeah, but something tells me this isn't over." Irina nodded, her gaze shifting to the horizon. "The galaxy knows who you are now. They'll come for you, some to fight, others to follow." Alex straightened, his exhaustion giving way to resolve. "Then we'll be ready." As the town below began to emerge from its shock, Alex and Irina stood side by side, their battle far from over, but their resolve stronger than ever. A new galactic era. The aftermath of the storm left Earth in a fragile calm. The town below Alex's hill still bore the scars of the encounter, the charred remains of buildings struck by stray plasma bolts, craters where hunter ships had landed, and the lingering hum of displaced energy in the air. But for the first time, Alex felt something he hadn't in days: hope. Irina stood beside him, gazing at the horizon as the first light of dawn broke through the remnants of the void storm. Her armor was battered, and exhaustion was etched into her features, but her eyes still shone with determination. "We bought ourselves time," she said quietly, "but the galaxy won't stop watching. The hunters will return, and the factions in the council will come for you." Alex nodded, his gaze fixed on the rising sun. "Let them. I'm done running." He clenched his fists, feeling the faint hum of the resonance-amplifying device still strapped to his wrist. It felt different now, less like a foreign object, and more like an extension of himself. He wasn't just a scientist anymore. He was something more, and the weight of that responsibility settled heavily on his shoulders. The call to action. Within hours, news of the void storm's dispersal began to spread. Reports from around the globe spoke of strange lights in the sky, whispers of an alien presence, and the mysterious man who had saved an entire region from annihilation. Governments scrambled to piece together what had happened, while ordinary people looked to the heavens with a mix of fear and wonder. Alex and Irina watched from the shadows as representatives from various nations arrived in the small town, their convoys filled with scientists, military personnel, and diplomats. Alex knew this moment was inevitable. The world wouldn't stay ignorant of the galaxy's greater conflicts for long. "It's time," Irina said, turning to Alex. "You need to address them." Alex hesitated. "What am I supposed to say?" "Hi, I'm Alex Carter, and I accidentally became the most wanted man in the galaxy." That's not exactly going to inspire confidence. Irina smiled faintly. "Speak the truth. They need to hear it from you, not a scientist, not a soldier, but a human who cares about his planet." Taking a deep breath, Alex stepped forward, approaching the gathered crowd of officials and journalists. Cameras clicked, and murmurs spread as he climbed onto a makeshift platform in the center of the town square. "Ladies and gentlemen," Alex began, his voice steady despite the lump in his throat. "I know you have questions. I'll do my best to answer them. But first, you need to understand something. Earth is no longer isolated. We're part of a galaxy far bigger and more dangerous than we ever imagined." The crowd fell silent, their attention rapt as Alex recounted his journey, the signal that started it all, the hunters who sought to exploit him, the Galactic Council's divided loyalties, and the void storms threatening to consume entire star systems. He spoke of the resonance humans possessed, a gift and a burden that placed them at the center of an interstellar crisis. "But this isn't just about me," Alex said, his voice rising with conviction. "It's about us, all of us. The galaxy sees humanity as a force of potential, of hope. But that means we have to stand together, not just as nations, but as a species. A turning point." As Alex finished speaking, the crowd erupted into a mixture of applause and anxious chatter. Diplomats hurriedly conferred with their aides, while journalists fired off questions. But amidst the chaos, Alex noticed something unexpected: a group of figures approaching from the edge of the square. Irina stiffened, her hand moving to her weapon. "They're here." Alex turned to see a delegation of aliens stepping forward, their forms illuminated by the rising sun. Among them was Chancellor Vorith, his golden skin shimmering as he raised a hand in greeting. "Alex Carter," Vorith said, his deep voice resonating across the square. "You've proven yourself worthy of the galaxy's trust. The Council has convened, and we are prepared to offer Earth a place among the stars." Gasps rippled through the crowd as the translators conveyed Vorith's words. Alex stepped down from the platform, meeting the Chancellor halfway. "What's the catch?" Alex asked, his voice wary. Vorith's expression softened. "There is no catch, Alex. But there is responsibility. Earth will face challenges as it joins the galactic community, conflicts, alliances, and threats unlike anything you've known. You will need leaders, ambassadors, and protectors. And you must decide, are you ready to take that first step?" Alex glanced back at the crowd, seeing the fear and hope in their faces. He thought of the hunters, the void storms, and the sacrifices Irina and others had made to protect him. He thought of his quiet life in the lab and how far he'd come since that first strange signal. "We're ready," Alex said, his voice firm. "But we're going to need help." Vorith nodded. "You won't face this alone. The Council will provide guidance, and allies will come. But the path forward is yours to forge. A new beginning." In the days that followed, Earth began its transition into the galactic stage. Alien ships appeared in orbit, not as invaders, but as emissaries. Scientific breakthroughs emerged from shared knowledge, and humanity's understanding of the universe expanded exponentially. Alex took on the role of Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Council, with Irina as his trusted advisor. Together, they worked to bridge the gap between humanity and the stars, navigating the delicate politics of a galaxy in turmoil. But Alex knew the fight was far from over. The hunters still lurked in the shadows, and the void storms remained a looming threat. Yet, for the first time, he felt a glimmer of optimism. Standing on the balcony of a council station orbiting Earth, Alex looked out at the endless expanse of stars. Irina joined him, her expression thoughtful. "Do you think we'll make it?" she asked quietly. Alex smiled. "We've come this far. I think we've got a pretty good shot." As the galaxy watched, Earth took its first steps into a new era, one of unity, discovery, and resilience. And Alex Carter, the man who had started as an ordinary scientist, found himself at the center of it all. The stars awaited.